Welcome back to Drone U HQ. As always, my name is Paul, and today we're gonna be talking about the top 5 American drones. And when I say American drones, honestly, what we're talking about is domestically approved drones or NDAA compliant drones. And if you haven't read the most recent version of the DJI drone ban, it's now the DJI, ACSL, and anyone who has a license from DJI ban. So unfortunately, while many of us do not want the DJI ban, if you are a smart drone pilot or a smart business owner, then you understand that the time to pivot is now. There are some considerations when really factoring for how you should transition from DJI-based drones into American or domestically approved drones. There's some things that you should know. Like, for example, a lot of these drones are gonna have longer lifespans than what you're used to with DJI. DJI has essentially pulled the Kia where they try to put out a new model of aircraft every few years to get you to buy. You could also call that the Apple model. Now, with a lot of these American drones, these are gonna have longer lifespans, so you really need a true platform. So what we're gonna be talking about in this video are the top 5 American drones, the pros, the cons, the true American drone platform, and price points for all of these drones. Now, if you're wondering, oh my gosh, Paul, how am I gonna navigate if and when this DJI drone ban happens, and positioning and pivoting my business into the American saga or the next saga of the drone industry? Well, at Drone U, we have a new class about navigating the drone ban, about how to amortize the cost of these new drones, how to educate your clients, how to essentially get ahead of the curve, everything from SEO on your website to educating your clients, engaging your clients, and kind of changing the vernacular of everything that you do. So let's get to the top 5 American drones. Number 1, the absolute best and our favorite platform so far is the Freefly Astro Prime drone. Now this drone fits in the size of essentially a Phantom 4 Pro case. Now it might have large 21-inch props to provide a 25-minute flight time, but it is an amazing drone because it has the Sony LR1 camera, which is a full-frame Exmor sensor. If you're familiar with Sony's line of cameras like the A7R Mark IV, A7R Mark V, etc., then you are familiar with this Exmor sensor, the video and photo capability from that aircraft itself. But the LR1 essentially takes the camera body off of the sensor and has the smallest, most compact camera payload possible. Now, Freefly has taken it even further. They've done something that no other drone manufacturer has done. They have created essentially a platform on their camera gimbal. Now, for many of you, when we talk about a drone platform, we're talking about a drone that we can take payloads on and off the actual camera body itself, meaning we take one camera off, put another camera on. Freefly Astro has said, that's too much work, let's make it easy and convenient. So what they did is they actually added, oh, this is so cool, mounts onto the camera. So you can mount a thermal camera onto your regular camera, and you can mount a laser rangefinder onto the camera itself. The closest drone to that is this M30T right here, which already has that triple camera payload. But for everyone at Freefly, they understand that not every job requires all of those cameras. And if you want to maximize efficiency, if you want to maximize your flight time for mapping missions, if you want to maximize your agricultural mapping, etc., you don't need all those cameras on your camera at once. Okay, so you can pick and choose thermal, the FLIR boson sensor with isotherms on it, or you can add a laser rangefinder to that camera. And yes, you can also change all the lenses on the camera as well. Freefly created a true aerial platform because this camera shoots 4K 60 frames per second, HD at 120 frames per second, and numerous different codecs so that you can get the most out of this aircraft. The 61 megapixel full frame camera allows users to fly further away from objects but capture astronomical detail. So this is not like a 48 megapixel super small sensor that has hybrid zoom up to 40 times, but you actually open up the images and they're this big and they're super grainy. No. You have a full frame camera, so you can have a lens that has zoom in, capture incredibly large detailed images, and then even blow them up in post to get even more detail. Unfortunately, you can't do that with any other domestically approved or NDAA compliant drone. The Freefly Astro Prime is cinematic, it's creative, and it's technical. If you're doing anything with public works, government, county, local government, if you're doing anything that requires your drone data deliverables, your mapping deliverables, your georeference orthomosaics, your point clouds, your digital surface models, your digital terrain models, your topographic maps, if you're doing any of that work and it needs to ultimately get into ArcGIS to be compared to legacy data, then you're gonna want the Freefly Astro Prime. Why? Because of Esri's partnership with Astro. With the Freefly Astro Prime, you actually have site scan flight or Esri flight. I forget the name, and forgive me, I forget the name. But essentially, it is the application to control the Astro drone to do autonomous missions to capture data that gets uploaded right into Esri's site scan platform. You know what's awesome about Esri's site scan platform? It is a cloud-based mapping platform. But more importantly, it's a one-button push to share your data into ArcGIS and compare your drone data against legacy data. Ultimately, your success is based off of how easy and convenient you are to work with, how reliable you are, the quality of your data, and your clients being happy. If you want all of those things, then you need to consider the Freefly Astro Prime. So we've talked about the pros, creative and technical pursuits, full frame camera, feels intuitive and native to DJI. It also has on-screen battery voltage. For all of you consumer pilots who don't understand the importance of battery voltage, please check out our operations course, which is standard for most government agencies who are flying drones. Why is battery voltage so important? Because battery percentage doesn't account for amperage draw, doesn't account for wind, doesn't account for barometric pressure, doesn't account for the altitude that you're flying, doesn't account for what's called the Ryan Carlton effect, and so much more. Battery voltage is the only true health indicator that you can rely on to understand whether you're going to have a safe flight and whether to understand what time you should actually fly home. There are formulas that we teach in our operations course, free to members to check that out. The cons to this drone and the cons to pretty much most American or domestically approved drones is the price point. The Freefly Astro Prime Essentials kit starts at $32,000. But if you want the NDAA approved kit, which does include 3 sets of batteries and a charger and props and your camera and your lens and everything that you need, including the remote, which by the way, it's the most badass remote I've ever seen. If you wanna feel like you're sitting in the cockpit of an F-15 Tomcat and you're ready to hit that red trigger and press the missile button, Freefly Astro actually has that red door trigger on it so that you can activate various modes. One of the coolest things about that remote, the Pilot Pro remote, is that if you've got drone pilots who are learning to fly, like we teach here at Drone U all the time, you can actually slow the gains or sensitivity down on the yaw, the roll, the pitch, the elevation, everything, to make it easier to learn and to make it easier for these pilots to understand the basics of banking turns, orientation, depth perception drills, etc., etc. It is truly our favorite platform. And you know what makes this video different from all the other videos on YouTube? Because I have researched them. We have flown all of these drones except for one. That's what's awesome. So we can actually sit here and give you the no BS. This is what we think is the best. That being said, at Drone U, we have never sold drones. There are many drone influencers who have affiliate links to DJI drones. We did do that for a while, but we have decided to finally sell drones. And after testing all the domestically approved drones, the Freefly Astro is the only drone that we are actually going to sell. So if you do need help picking up a Freefly Astro Prime, reach out to me, paul@thedroneu.com. The number 2 domestically approved drones, and it's not really an American drone, but it is NDAA compliant, is the Parrot Anafi AI. This is the budget-friendly version of the NDAA compliant drone. It's light, it's compact, it gets the job done. Here's the catch though, the sensor on that drone, while it is, I believe, 48 megapixels, it is a linear rolling shutter drone. So if you check out our Parrot Anafi AI review, then you'll actually see that, yeah, it's amazing to fly. You can fly at unlimited distances, as it was one of the first drones to fly over 5G. In fact, you can fly that drone very long distances. So when Part 108 actually comes out and you can just go out and get your BVLOS license to fly drones beyond visual line of sight, this will be a great option for you to learn on a budget. The drone comes in around $4,000. It does look like a praying mantis, and honestly, it flies like one too. That said, The drone has a linear rolling shutter camera, so while acquisition of data was awesome and watching the eyes flick up and down for obstacle avoidance was interesting, processing the data and comparing it against the Mavic 3 Enterprise or a Phantom 4 Pro was astronomically different. And if you want to scale your drone operations, it's probably not the drone for you. When doing a small data set against the Phantom 4 Pro, the Phantom 4 Pro completed the processing of that map and model in 26 minutes. Utilizing the exact same data set from the Parrot Anafi AI, it took 2.5 hours. A pretty significant delta when it comes to processing your mapping and modeling data. One thing I do love about the Parrot Anafi AI is that it's affordable, it's lightweight, it's portable. It does look really interesting, so it sparks some interesting conversations. And if you want to get weird with it, you can plug a 400-foot long USB-C cable into it and have a tethered drone system that can stay aloft perpetually. Yep, you can do that. It's actually pretty cool. So that said, the cons is that linear rolling shutter takes a long time to process. It really makes you wonder why these drone manufacturers don't have global shutters, which is so important for mapping and modeling in these drones. And the answer is it's more expensive. But they'd have a much more competitive drone and sell more of them if it was a global shutter camera like Sony's LR1 in the Freefly Astro. A con for the Parrot Anafi AI is that it only shoots 4K 30 video, and the gimbal doesn't really act the smoothest. In addition, you find that the zoom has a little bit of wonkiness to it as well. So for those creative endeavors, the Parrot Anafi AI is not going to be the drone for you. Now that said, good things do come in small packages. Just give it some extra time to get the job done. Coming in at number 3 is the ACSL Soten drone. We call it the Pocket Powerhouse. Now for around $10,000, it actually is the closest thing to a Phantom 4 Pro that you can buy. In fact, the CEO of that company is an ex-DJI engineer, so he knows exactly what he's doing. The pros is that it does have a global shutter for accurate mapping and modeling. It's small and portable, and it's great for inspections as a whole. But similar to the Parrot Anafi AI, it only shoots 4K 30 video. It does have a 1-inch CMOS sensor, and it is built for mapping. In addition, it also has multiple camera payloads that you can add right to that drone and really get the most out of it. It is a drone that packs a punch for about $10,000, just not in the video department. So yet again, it's another domestically approved drone that doesn't have video frame rates or the camera quality that you would expect to capture creative and technical pursuits. Now let's talk about number 4 of top domestically approved or American drones, the Skydio X10. Some would call it the obstacle avoidance king. Now we also did a huge long review on the Skydio X10, and I actually think I overhyped it a little bit too much because in all honesty, if you go to the very end of that review video, which few of you did, you'll find that most of the other drones that we tested against it got high quality data in a much faster time frame. For example, if I didn't make it clear in the Skydio X10 video, to map that training center that we train at all the time, the Skydio took 22 minutes to complete the entire 2D ortho collection, okay? The Freefly Astro took 3.5 minutes. The Wingtra took 3.5 minutes. So when you're talking about getting jobs done, if you need to fly in really tight, confined spaces and you need to capture exceptional aerial imagery, then I would honestly mention the Helios drone because it does a much better job. Now, Skydio states that their drones are designed and built in America. I would challenge you to look at the back of the battery case. The pros: it's best-in-class obstacle avoidance. It's a smart AI-powered flight system. It is good for basic mapping and inspections. Unfortunately, 3D scan or the software that you need to do 3D modeling is going to run you multiple thousands of dollars per year. So cons is that it's much slower to acquire mapping data. Again, you're not gonna get those creative features if you wanna tell the story of the work that you're doing. Again, it only shoots 4K 30 video, and it is extremely expensive on fees for mapping. Now the base price for the Skydio X10 is around $15,000, but if you wanna get 3D scan and do a bunch of mapping and modeling missions, and you wanna do some other things, that quickly jumps the price up to $23,000. And then if you want the 300 Lima payload, that's gonna cost you even more money. So the price gets racked up pretty fast In addition, the Skydio X10 is a great drone. It's a great leap forward. It's still a small 1-inch CMOS sensor, which in the video I was like, oh, this is great because it's like the camera sensor that we have on the Phantom, but in 1 year, Freefly overtakes them. So that's why it's number 4 on our list. It's amazing for obstacle avoidance, and it's amazing for long range beyond visual line of sight flights. Honestly, the Skydio shines and excels when it comes to utility inspections, especially for power utilities. When it comes to mapping substations or environments with heavy interference, the Skydio X10 shines because the autonomy engine is actually in control of the drone. The pilot is either secondary or tertiary to the autonomy in the aircraft itself. And in those environments, that's a positive. But according to Part 107, the drone pilot does need to be able to take it over the drone in the case of an emergency. So not sure how that happens with the autonomy. Honestly, the Skydio X10 dodges trees like a pro, but it'll dodge your wallet too. The last one, and this one is the only one we have not flown, this is the Inspired Flight IF800 Tomcat. I'd like to call it the DJI M300 lookalike. It is a true platform as well, with multiple camera payloads that you can interchange on the aircraft itself. Designed and manufactured in the United States, it is a great aircraft, and it's rugged and capable for large-scale operations, great for industrial applications. Unfortunately, we have not flown this drone. It does use the Auterion flight controller system, just like the Skydio X10, just like some other of these drones that we've talked about. And honestly, when we talk about these systems integrators, a lot of them, they take the Auterion Skynode ecosystem and they just put it right in their drone. There's a little bit of parameter shifting, coding, software development, but not very deep software development. That's where, again, I think Freefly has shined, because one of the key things about DJI that makes DJI so easy to fly, and a lot of drone pilots haven't been around long enough to know kind of the evolution of the market as a whole. DJI's first Phantom 1, Phantom 2, if you remember those H3 3D gimbals that you had to build onto the bottom of the old Phantoms and whatnot, there was this feature that essentially the gimbal follows user or gimbal follows drone. There's been different names for the parameter. But essentially, if you are on the yaw stick and you move the yaw stick over, you'll notice that the camera moves before the drone does. This makes the footage look more seamless, it looks more smooth, and it essentially makes the flight a lot easier to produce buttery smooth video. Now, the only American domestically manufactured drone that I've seen do that and have that deep level of coding is, again, the Freefly Astro Pro. But for the top 5 manufacturers that we've mentioned, there's 10 or 15 other manufacturers that I don't even think are worth talking about, because it's a systems integration. It's Auterion plus a Gremsy gimbal utilizing a Sony a7R Mark IV with like a 9-minute flight time. Sony Airpeak, I'm looking at you. Now that said, there are a lot of domestically approved drones, and I'm not here to bash people. I'm here to give you the real world information, because there is so much hype that is out there, and there's so much over promising and under delivering. And honestly, I am sick and tired of it. I want to provide people with the right information from experience. So, Inspired Flight, I have not flown your drone. It could be epic and amazing, but looking at the camera specs and the 4K 30 video, again, it just is not a true platform when you compare it against something like the Freefly Astro Prime. These are the top 5 American drones, each with their own strengths, weaknesses, and quirks. Honestly, if you want the true platform where you can shoot creative, amazing, buttery smooth video, but you also want incredibly detailed 2D maps and 3D models, and you don't want to pay for that subscription every single year to be able to do that stuff, then the Freefly Astro Prime is the clear winner at number 1. So if you're looking for amazing drones to buy, you can come to Drone U. But if you're also looking for the tips, tricks, and reviews, the information taught from experience, we don't just read DJI manuals and post it for $50 and sell classes and deep dives. If you want the real information, if you want the Top Gun flight school, then you've got to check out Drone U. Become a member, get access to the deepest and the largest library of drone classes, which are going to teach you the systems, the fundamentals to build upon, it's not just for safety. It's not just to be in FAA compliance. It's because you want to be the best pilot possible and you want to take on any situation with confidence, know how to avoid emergencies, how to sell yourself with confidence, and frankly, be the drone pilot everyone can count on. And when your client looks at your stuff, they're like, wow. If you want that, then you've got to check out Drone U, where we teach you how to turn your toy into a tool and how to give you the skills to pay the bills. Because honestly, these American drones, you can charge a lot more money for, because frankly, if you've been in the film industry and the rental kit pricing, you know exactly what I am talking about. So go ahead, hit subscribe, activate those notifications, because if you want the best information taught from experience and not just for clickbait and trying to get your views for ad dollars, then check it out, because we are here because we want to help you. We want to promote you. We want to see you grow. There is no greater feeling in life than being able to help someone else achieve their dreams. And as someone who has trained universities and colleges on the same curriculum that we have in our library, I'm telling you, go to the source, get the information. These college professors, they've never done this work in the field. But here at Drone U, we do the work all the time. So if you're ready to soar above and beyond flight school and you want the best information possible, check out thedroneu.com.